Sure. My name is Mike Hess. I'm a CPA at Grennan Fender. I am a partner in the firm Grennan Fender, Hess, and Poprod. My practice is primarily accounting clients and tax clients, but our firm is a full service firm, so we do more than just traditional accounting. We do tax, we do audit, we do consulting, and provide our clients clarity. Yeah, sometimes I'm referred to as a Swiss Army knife in the office, and it's primarily because I don't mind rolling up my sleeves and diving into whatever mess, accounting mess the client might have, and helping them get out of it. So so I'm very comfortable in many different disciplines, and I think that probably comes from, I have a master's in tax, but I started my career at Ernst & Young as an auditor. That gave me a lot of on-hand or in the field background or experience that made me very comfortable showing up at a client's office and being a part of what's going on there and understanding not just the numbers, but how their business works, because really, in order for us as accountants and tax advisors and even in our auditors, it's very important for us to understand the nature of the client's business so that we can guide them the best with the best possible solutions that make financial sense or tax efficient and and healthy for them. Well, so back in 2013, Ken Hartsaw actually started a school, and at that time that was one of just a handful in Orange County. So it was a relatively new concept that was beginning to grow. And Ken started his school, and he needed somebody to dive into the regulations and understand how to be compliant with these new rules for these new charter schools. So we invested quite a bit of resources into not only understanding the required accounting format, but understanding their regulatory compliance. And once you invest that much time and effort into a discipline like that, and especially as unique as charter schools are, it just made sense for us to share what we learned with other schools too. So we've created a division within our firm that's dedicated to just managing the accounting for charter schools. And now we've gotten over 12 years worth of experience in doing this kind of work, but a lot of it started with, one client, just about like any other business niche would, and then just evolved from there. My relationship with the Workforce Advantage Academy I've been close with their management since day one. When they first started, we had to roll up our sleeves and figure out, how do you take something that didn't exist before and make it work, make the business model work. And we worked through so many different financial scenarios and finally came up with what we believed was going to be what it was going to take to make it work. And their team was successful in recruiting the number of students that they needed to get that financial model to work. But anytime there was a change in the assumptions that we made, we had to be pretty quick to respond because the school didn't have a giant nest egg to run to. We had to figure out a way how to help them make it. And their board was very strong and continues to be a very strong board, but that had a lot to do with their success in getting started. And it was, I think, good for them and good for us too, to be working shoulder to shoulder to solve those problems early on. and it's helped to make them successful as time's gone on. Well, one of our core values at our firm is being proactive. And part of being proactive, I think a good example of that is in budgeting, planning for the future. And when our clients have their board meetings, their leadership is generally interested in wanting to understand how their year is going to look financially. And so part of being proactive, of course, is developing a budget, and we help management put together estimates of what we think the year is going to look like. And budgets aren't supposed to be perfect; they never are. But you do the best you can to use professional judgment and inputs that and work through the assumptions that you're using in your budget model. And so when we have our board meetings, we bring a prepared budget, of course, but it gives the leadership an opportunity to think about some of the things that are coming, and then discuss whether or not that financial decision makes sense, or is there a better way? And you see the collaboration around the boardroom when you're talking about the needs of the school. Everybody brings different ideas and suggestions about what we might do for advertising for the school, or what they might do for payroll, or how they're going to manage supply costs and that sort of thing. And it's interesting to see that dynamic play out in the board meetings. And then what we offer is, with having our experience in charter schools, is that we know what is happening to other charter schools, and we can use that to help answer questions as we go through the decision process. Bringing that industry knowledge to their board helps them make better decisions and makes for an all-around better budget, which really helps them be a more proactive model for a school. Probably about 22 varying different scopes of services. We can provide, we're very scalable. We can provide just regulatory compliance, or we can go all the way into paying the bills for the school and being really an extension of the management team. It helps a lot being involved in so many different schools, because we learn from what's happening in one school. We can share that experience with each school and collaborate in a way that helps us avoid pitfalls or at least be aware of coming changes. These charter schools are really dependent on what happens in the state politics. So if a rule changes, it can trickle down and really impact them either in a positive or negative way. Well, being involved with so many different schools in various different districts throughout the state of Florida, we're able to, what we learn from one, share with the other, and vice versa, and get in front of problems before they happen. So I think it's very important for the relationship between a client and their CPA to be mutually beneficial, but very fluid. It needs to be easy for the CPA to call the client and say, hey, there's this new tax law that's coming up you might need to be aware of. Or when we were preparing your financial statements, we saw a concern, and it's something that we want to make you aware of. And likewise, the client should feel very comfortable in contacting the CPA when they're wanting to make a decision that's going to impact their business. We can be extremely helpful in evaluating the impact for that financially and look at it from a different angle. Usually business owners and CEOs are focused on the results of the company. and ensuring that they're meeting their mission and they're good at it. They rely on us to make sure that they're not tripping over financial issues. And I feel like the relationship between the CPA and the client, in order for that to work effectively, it needs to be fluid, and it needs to be very I feel like the relationship between the client and the CPA needs to be very fluid, and such that neither party feels like they're burdening each other by that candid conversations together about their financial transactions. Yeah, so being responsive to our clients is really important. I'll tell you why. We put ourselves in the shoes of the client. They're relying on us to be an extension of their firm. I mean, we're part of their team. So, normally if you have an embedded accounting department, you're walking across the hall and asking the question. Well, we recognize we need to simulate that. We're a CPA firm. We're responsible for being a part of their management team. So when they have a question, we know that they need that answered quickly so that they can move on to the next thing. We have multiple different ways of communicating with our clients through either emails or text messages or through the phone or various different methods that make it easy for the client to get in touch with us. And we don't want them waiting around for an answer. Now, not every time are we going to be able to spit out an answer right away, but we need to collect the information from them, understand, digest what it is they're trying to do, and then if further research is needed, then we go back and try to figure out where the impacts are going to be. But being responsive to them and being responsive to our clients is very important to our relationship, for them to be able to count on us, and we view it as if we were in their office working with them side by side, shoulder to shoulder.